2025 NBA mock draft to discuss. This one's coming via ESPN. They released their first mock draft after the lottery results were official on Monday night. I wanted to react to it and see where they had the top prospects going in the top 30 of this NBA draft. And I do want to take a look at what the lottery results actually were, though. Remember, the Dallas Mavericks won the lottery. They moved up from 11 to 1. What a move there for the Mavs to get Cooper Flagg. The Spurs go up from 8 to 2. The Sixers go from 5 to 3. And you see how everybody else slotted in after those 2 and 3 teams jumped up pretty significantly. And it's a fascinating one, man. And there is no surprise of who is going number one. That is something that we know is already written. And arguably, I could say that the number 2 pick is already written in as well. So without further ado, let's get into the ESPN mock draft. It's Cooper Flagg going number 1 to the Dallas Mavericks. The forward from Duke is one of the most no-brain number 1 picks in a while. I know Wemby was a no-brainer a couple years ago, but there was debate last year. There was debate the year prior with Paolo Banchero. It turned out to be a good pick. But there was debate of who it was going to be. There was debate of Chet Holmgren in that draft class. So Cooper Flagg is going to be a Mav, and it's going to be quite the trio with him, AD, and Kyrie. Well, there's also a report out there that 99.9% likely the Spurs go with Dylan Harper, the guard from Rutgers, and actually won't trade that pick. I love Dylan Harper. Personally, I don't think the gap between Flagg and Harper as prospects are as wide as many other people might think personally. Harper reminds me so much of Cade Cunningham, 6'6", lengthy guard, can get to his spots at every spot on the offensive side. Play makes very well. I think he's going to be a better defender than what you might imagine based off that Rutgers team last season. The Spurs have a trio of guards, assuming they take Harper and Castle, Fox, and Dillon. I think it will work. It'll be interesting to see how it does work, but I believe it will. These should be the first 2 picks in every single mock draft. There is going to be no change here, in my opinion. Make sure you do follow us on X. Not me, but actually Chat Sports. The handle is at Chat Sports because we're going to have NBA draft content where we have daily NFL videos, NBA videos. We have short form content, and we are continuing to grow here on Twitter, and we need your help to continue to grow. We have 15.2 thousand followers right now. Join us to get up-to-date news, rumors around the NFL, NBA world, and more. So with the 3rd pick, ESPN had the Sixers going with Ace Bailey. Now, I have some thoughts about this selection. I've seen a lot of people have this mocked out. It makes sense. I get it to work Bailey at the 3 or 4 alongside Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey long-term. Bailey has his reservations, a questionable IQ, takes bad shots, but is a tough shot maker. Came in a little bit shorter at the combine than we thought, listed at 6'10" at Rutgers, 6'7" and change without shoes. But he has one of the highest upsides in this entire NBA draft class. There's no question about that. The 4th pick goes to Charlotte, VJ Edgecombe, the guard from Baylor. Now, I would personally have Edgecombe in my mock draft going to Philly at 3, but Charlotte would just be through the roof with Edgecombe here at number 4. The perfect fit to me for the Hornets, and if the Hornets actually had the 3rd pick, I would pound the table for them to take Edgecombe anyway. VJ, who slides in perfectly at the 2 spot, a good perimeter defender, an athletic 2 guy that can finish inside, finish through traffic, shot 39% from 3 last year at the Big 12 play. Next to Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, sign me up for that. Great complementary piece. No brain selection here, in my opinion, for the Hornets if he's on the board. A shocker here a little bit. In Utah, the Jazz go with the guard from Oklahoma, Jeremiah Fears, and this would not surprise me one bit. They do need a lead guard. I am a big-time advocate for Jeremiah Fears. The true freshman was just able to get in so many rising stocks, if you will, among NBA draft circles. He was such a good free throw shooter, clutch, got to the paint and was able to finish with ease. He just moves differently. He's an athlete, and the Jazz need a true point guard on that roster. Fears makes a lot of sense if you ask me. Shout out your favorite NBA team down in the comments section. Did your team get screwed by the lottery? Did they get blessed? Let me know who you're rocking with down in the comments section for the NBA. With the 6th pick, the Wizards take Trey Johnson, a pick that I will probably advocate for as well. And I agree with ESPN here because when you think of roster construction for Washington, they have Alex Sarr, they have Bilal Coulibaly, they have Bub Carrington, they have Keyshawn George as their young nucleus, but they don't have a true two-guard next to Carrington to share that backcourt of the future. Trey Johnson, a player that averaged 18 a game last season as a freshman in the SEC, a tough shot maker, but has the same questions as Ace Bailey in terms of IQ, shot selection, ability to finish through traffic and contact, but he is one of the best jump shooters in this class. Fits really well next to Bub Carrington, in my opinion, and that would be your starting backcourt of the future in the nation's capital. This is the first head-scratching pick from ESPN, in my opinion, this mock. Kaman Malawach, I like him as a prospect, but him going to the Pelicans, I'm a little puzzled. They drafted Yves Missi, who was actually pretty solid as a rookie out of Baylor last year for the Pels. Are you making Malawach your backup year one? Are you making Missi your backup? To me, I think they would be better well-served fitting pieces around Trey Murphy and Herb Jones and whatever guard they want to keep. I would lean closer to a Kneppel, maybe even a Yakachonis in this spot to get a lead ball handler if they're moving on from either Murray or McCollum. But Malawach, a rim-protecting, rim-running center, needs to improve his rebounding, but can just deter you inside defensively and finishes everything around the rim. Aforementioned Con Kneppel here to Brooklyn at 8. I would seriously consider Yakachonis for them in this spot as they do need a lead guard and a ball handler. But it's hard for me to just knock any team picking Kneppel considering he is probably the most well-rounded player in this class outside of Harper and Flagg. There will be questions about his athleticism and his burst, but he plays off 2 feet extremely well, a heady player that defends. I think any person comparing him to just a white shooter is sadly not informed on his game. He can do it all. I am a fan of Kneppel. Another stunner, if you will, Colin Murray-Boyles, the forward from South Carolina, going to the Raptors. I like Murray Boyles, arguably the best defensive player in this class because he could just be so versatile, a playmaker in the half court as well. I'm just not sold on his fit here because he, to me, can't play next to Scotty Barnes. And where are you playing him? He's obviously coming off the bench in the front court to Brandon Ingram to Scotty and whatever center they roll out there next year. Right now it's Jakob Poeltl. I don't know if Murray Boyles can be good for every NBA team. He needs to go to the right team, and I don't think it's Toronto, so I would not lean this way for the Raptors if they were picking. I would probably rather have them gone Derek Queen, considering he's still on the board in this mock draft, because they need a center of the future. Murray Boyles cannot play center. He's a 4 at the next level. Number 10 here, the Rockets go with Kasparas Yakachonis, a player I'm high on compared to most people. I think he's the top 5 player in this class. I think the offense will take a step up at the next level when he's surrounded with better athletes and better spacing as opposed to what he was with in Illinois last season at the college level. Good playmaker, needs to limit the turnovers, but he is a good, he plays really well in the half court. And I get the athletic question marks, but I am a fan of Yakachonis. I just don't know what he's doing in Houston, though. Are they moving this pick? Are they going to play him and move off of Van Vliet like they drafted Reed Sheppard 3rd overall last year? I don't know about this one. I would probably rather go with Murray Boyles if he was there on draft night or a center. Maybe it's Derek Queen, who ultimately went 11 in this mock draft to the Portland Trailblazers. Now, this is another interesting one. They went with Donovan Clingan last year. Can Queen and Clingan play together? Queen, does he have the ability to space out and be a 4? He can play the 4 in terms of size, and he's athletic enough in his foot speed to play the 4, but he wasn't the best three-point shooter last year. His shot form was a little wonky. If he checks boxes off as a potential spacer down the line, I'd be very fascinated with the Queen and Clingan front court because Derek isn't the best rim protector, but he can move his feet a little bit and defend some players that aren't fives. I'm a massive fan of Derek Queen. I actually have him as my number one center. Just questionable of the fit here with him and Kling. Igor Demen to the Bulls at 12. Demen, his stock is rising in the NBA Combine. Came in taller than expected, 6'9.5" with shoes on. Showcased off a pretty three-point shot, which did not look good at the college level, but the form is there. He's just everything you could ask for in a guard. My question is, once again, fit here. Are the Bulls moving off of Josh Giddey? Because to me, Demen and Giddey are similar. Lengthy, tall guards that have questions with their three-point shot. Can they defend? There's just too many similarities between Demen and Giddey, which is why I'm not sure if he would be the right selection. I would be much more pounding the table for a big man like Thomas Sorbo or an athletic wing to add to this Bulls roster to complement with Modest Buzelis rather than another Josh Giddey type of player. Jace Richardson, number 13 to the Hawks, the guard from Michigan State, came in a little bit shorter at the combine, 6 foot without shoes, which is a little bit of a question, but he's got a pretty stroke from deep, high arcing shot, averaged 17 plus points per game in the final couple months of the year for Tom Izzo's club. Just does a lot of things well, but I don't know if he is standing out at any certain metric. He could be a backup point guard to Trae Young, but he would not be able to play alongside Trae due to questions about size and switchability defensively. But if they're looking to get a backup guard for Trae Young, Jace Richardson would be a pretty solid option. The Spurs, with their second pick in the lottery, go with the high upside pick of Carter Bryant, a player very similar to a Patrick Williams, if we're going to be honest. Not a lot of offensive upside, didn't do a lot offensively at Arizona. Questions about if he's going to be able to be a good offensive player at the next level and create his own shot, but an NBA-ready body, an athlete, a good switching defender. I like Carter Bryant a lot. It's just all about the gamble. Is the offense going to translate? Is it going to take a step up? Because if it doesn't, you're left with just a defensive guy that isn't solid offensively like Patrick Williams. But if you're right, it could be a massive two-way type of guy that is a mainstay in your lineup. We're going to get to post-lottery picks here in just a second, but I do want to throw out, we will be live for the NBA draft here. We're going to have you covered over the next month and a half on NBA draft content. I'm Nic Rohloff. Draft is June 25th, June 26th. I'll be live for that. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications so you never miss any piece of our NBA draft content. 15th pick from the Thunder here, courtesy of the Heat. Nolan Traore, the guard from France. Is this just not the most Thunder pick of all time? Traore, a projected top 10 guy coming into the year, struggled a little bit, but has gotten hot for St. Quentin over the past 3 weeks or so, playing much better like that projected top 10 pick he was. This is a player that won't need to be played right away in OKC, which is probably a good thing. Let him develop in the G League. They drafted Nikola Topic last year as he dealt. You just stack up on a highly talented guards that can maybe play alongside SGA or be his backup long term. The Thunder just have so many picks. You have to imagine they trade one eventually, but Traore to OKC is very fascinating. Will Riley, the freshman guard/forward from Illinois to Orlando, I'm curious to see where his stock is because he was very inconsistent for the Fighting Illini. Very up, very down. He's got a size profile that screams 2 or 3 at the next level. Could be a good shooter, could be a ball handler, creator. But if I'm the Magic, I'm really trying to target a floor spacing scoring guard. That's something they need to complement Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero with. Is Riley that? I don't know, but him learning behind KCP could be very interesting as well. The Timberwolves go with Danny Wolf, the center from Michigan. Wolf, just a 7-foot, 250-pound guy who can handle the ball in the half court, can play make. He's a stout defender. Can he get out to the perimeter and defend at the next level? I'm not sure, but Wolf being the understudy to Rudy Gobert as his contract comes to a conclusion could be very fun for the T-Wolves. Wizards with their boatload of picks go with Noah Senge, the Frenchman forward. He is on the board as the top non-United States player in this class a lot. I've seen a lot of people mock him in the lottery, slips to the Wizards here at 18. I like this fit because he's just able to develop and improve on a team that's not required to have win now pieces. A Sengate to Washington could make sense if he slips past the lottery. Johan Behringer, another Frenchman, the center, heading to Brooklyn. Day'Ron Sharpe's a free agent. Nick Claxton is their starter. Behringer becomes their immediate backup. I'm not the highest on Behringer, but I do understand the fit. I would be stunned, though, if a team like Brooklyn ended up going with Behringer over Thomas Sorber, who is on the board still from Georgetown. Liam McNeely, the guard/forward from UConn, heads to Miami. Questionable fit here as well. When you think of what the Heat need, is it a guard-forward combo that is a good shooter, but can he put the ball on the deck? Can he defend? Yeah, there's rumors about Duncan Robinson being on the move this offseason, and he could fill that void. But if I'm Miami, I'm looking at a scoring guard to complement next to Hero, or a athletic defensive wing to complement Bam and Kalal Ware in the front court. I just don't get the Liam McNeely pick for Miami. Utah goes with Asa Newell, the forward/center from Georgia. He's an undersized big man, but plays with a chip on his shoulder. Had some games last year where he showcased an ability to shoot the ball from deep. Interesting pick here for Utah, who obviously took Filipowski last year, has Walker Kessler. Do they move off of Kessler, though? They've kind of had his name in trade rumors for a while now. If they do that, okay, you slide in Newell next to Lauri Markkanen. If not, where does he fit with Filipowski and company in Utah? But I do like Newell as a prospect. If he's able to develop a three-point shot, he could be a solid floor-spacing big. I know this was a very hot topic when it came to the lottery with the Spurs, Mavericks, and Sixers rounding out the top three. Do you guys think it was rigged? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm not going to be mad at you if you say it was rigged, but personally, I don't think they rigged these things. I'm sorry. The aforementioned Thomas Sorber heads to Atlanta at 22 here. This would just be a home run pick. It would. Like, I am all in on Sorber. I think I am close to putting him in my top 15 on my big board personally. Checked in at 6'10 with a 7-foot wingspan. Excuse me, 6'10 with like a 7'6 wingspan at the NBA Combine. Just a ridiculous plus wingspan. He's a good athlete, gets off the floor quick, can protect the rim, good lob threat, needs to develop better footwork in the post game, but he's very young. Dealt with a foot injury, so maybe that could scare some teams off. But Sorber climbing up my board, you get him on that team, working with Onyeka Okongwu, Clint Capella's gone, catching lobs from Trae Young. Hello, sign me up for that. It's an excellent fit. The Pacers at 23 go with Nick Clifford, the do-it-all guard from Colorado State. I mean, one of my favorites. I don't think there's a world where Nick Clifford should be going outside of the top 20. Goes to the Pacers here at 23, who just add to their collection of well-rounded do-it-all guys. Clifford could play on ball, he can play off ball, he can rebound. Averaged 9 a game last year for the Rams. Averaged 19 a game, shot 38% from three. I mean, you just can't go wrong by taking Nick Clifford in this draft. Hugo Gonzalez, the forward from Spain, to the Thunder here. Second pick in this first round for OKC. They go with a Frenchman in Traore, a Spaniard in Gonzalez. Stash guys that don't need to contribute right away and can develop in their system. I think you're sensing a common theme here for Thunder selections, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense. Magic with their second pick here. I talked earlier about going with a scoring guard and a three-point shooter. Well, here it is, Walter Clayton Jr. I do actually like this fit. I'm not the highest on Clayton personally, but if there's a great landing spot for him in the first round, I do think it's Orlando, who just needs scoring punch off the bench. Cole Anthony is a similar guy to him in terms of play style. Maybe they move off Cole Anthony this offseason, trade him, recoup some assets, and then draft Clayton. If they did that, makes a lot of sense. If they don't, questions about who would get that lead ball-handling scoring guard kind of role on the Magic. But I do like the fit of Clayton Jr. heading to Orlando. A guard that I'm a little bit high on here, going to Brooklyn, Ben Serra from Israel. And we'll actually just unveil both the Nets picks here in a row. Rasheer Fleming was the other player. I mean, this would be a home run selection. Like, if you're the Nets in the late 20s getting Ben Seraph and Rasheer Fleming, that's just absolutely ridiculous. I also think it's a joke that Fleming went 27 in this mock draft. The forward from St. Joe's, 6'9", 7'5" wingspan, shot 39% from three last year in the A-10, is an absolute dominant finisher with his athleticism and length around the rim as well. I have Fleming as a top 15 player in this class. I think in my most recent big board, I actually had him at 11 or 12. I am very high on Fleming. If you're Brooklyn, you drafted Kneppel earlier in this mock draft. You get Ben Seraph, who reminds me of a poor man's Goran Dragic at his age, the 3-and-D specialist in Fleming. I mean, that's an unbelievable draft. Not to mention they also got Joan Behringer at 19 in this ESPN mock as well. An intriguing selection here for Boston. Noah Penda. Maybe they go with a high upside guy, especially with Jason Tatum's injury, the forward from France. If Tatum's out for the entire year, you don't probably draft a win now piece. You probably try to take a high upside guy at this spot. So I don't hate Penda. But if I'm going to be honest, if you're going with a high upside wing at this spot, there's one player that we'll talk about with pick number 30 to me that would make a little bit more sense. At 29, the Suns go with Yaxel Lendeborg, the forward/center from UAB. Now, this is an intriguing player because he has not confirmed whether he's going to stay in the draft or not. He said if he receives a first-round promise from a team this week at the Combine, he'll stay in the draft. If there is no said promise, he'll head back to college, which he's already committed to Michigan, fun fact. So he's going to be an interesting player to keep your eye on. A do-it-all big man inside. If he stays in the draft, probably goes mid to late 20s, and he gets a guarantee from a team. If he doesn't get a guarantee, well, he'll be playing at Michigan next year for Dusty May. This is the player I was talking about for Boston at 28. Adou Thiero, who is a player that, to me, has one of the highest upsides in this draft when you're talking about late first-round picks. There is a world where Thiero is an all-star. There is. Because if he is able to progress his offensive game, become a little bit of a creator, a consistent three-point shooter, he's already one of the better wing defenders. He's a top 5 wing defender and just straight-up defender in this draft. So if he's able to find an offense and a consistent three-point shot, you're talking about a player that could easily go in the lottery with this draft. But there's so much questions about that offensive game. He's an athlete. He defends. You get him here at 30, if you're the Clippers, to learn to train under Kawhi Leonard, that's a home run. But I would also consider him going a little bit earlier due to that defensive ability and offensive promise. Like I said, if he is able to play and improve and develop on the offensive end, like, my goodness, we're talking about an unreal player here at pick number 30. All right, you saw it, all 30 picks here in this first round. Grade ESPN's mock draft, A, B, C, D, or F. I'll probably have a mock draft out later next week. It'd be my third one of this draft process following the NBA Combine, so be on the lookout for that. But let me know ESPN's, and make sure you follow us on Twitter, like I said earlier, for daily NFL, NBA content, short form, everything in between. @ChatSports is the handle. Go give us a follow.